G'day, everyone, and welcome to another episode here of the Basketball Down Under podcast. Got a lot of things going on in the basketball world at the moment. The Olympics is in full swing, playing some great basketball over there, but we're taking a break from our usual Olympic and basketball coverage, and we're joined today by someone who has played basketball in America. He's played basketball here, some roles with the Don Valley Eagles, our club here that we've mentioned several times on this show, and he's also got something through Calm Youth, which we'll touch on at some stage, really next generation. Of course, Sam here alongside me, but Michael, our guest today, thanks very much for joining us, mate.
First and foremost, thanks for having me. Like I said before, off record, shout out to you guys for starting this podcast and just doing what you love, just talking hoops. There ain't no better thing to do in the world to me than talk hoops or just be involved in basketball. So I'm glad I can be involved and give you guys an episode, and I'm looking forward to the questions and just sharing a little bit more about myself in depth.
Perfect. Well, look, Mike, so I've known you for a few years now, and one thing that I've gathered from you, I've got a little bit of a nickname for you in my head. I call you a Swiss Army knife, right? Because you got the basketball stuff going on, you've got the podcasting stuff going on, you've got your Calm Youth, your motivational speaking with your kids, you got everything going on. So, yeah, Swiss Army knife. What are your thoughts on that nickname?
I like it. I always consider myself like a man of many trades. Interesting enough, I've always been given nicknames. So like you having one for me just goes in with whatever. A lot of my friends give me different ones, but only one I've ever given myself, the only thing I've ever given myself was Fortune 500. And I remember being in college my freshman year, and all the senior boys were getting tattoos, and they paid for my tattoo at Billy Jack's, this place called Billy Jack's in Bristol, Tennessee. And I didn't know what to get. Like, I just didn't know. So I've always just called myself Fortune 500, and I just got it tatted on my inner bicep. So I got Fortune over here and 500 on the other side. And for the zeros, it's two basketballs. And I just got it because, obviously the Fortune 500, the 500 companies, $1 million industries, and, my last name's Fortune. So, I just threw that together myself. And then it took me about 10 years to realize what I actually gave myself the nickname for. Fortune 500 is companies, a bunch of different type of companies. And I'm a man of many different things, like a Swiss Army knife. So like, I didn't even know that I stamped it on myself at 18 and like 28, 29 to be like, you know what? I actually a man of many talents. Like I am my own industry, I'm my own business, my own brand. And so I think the tattoo thing, without even knowing, kind of set me up to get this nickname from you, the Swiss Army knife. So I like it. I like it a lot.
No, it's a good one. You are definitely a man of many talents, and I was able to gather that pretty much when I very first met you. But yeah, we want to get started just chatting about your basketball career. So I guess growing up, so you grew up in West Virginia, USA. That's right?
Yeah, Beckley, West Virginia is where I grew up, but I was born in Charleston, West Virginia, which is the capital of West Virginia. Rest in peace to Jerry West, West Virginia legend. Rest in peace. The logo. Rest in peace to Jerry West. But yeah, grew up in Beckley, West Virginia. Obviously, was born in Charleston, West Virginia. Basketball. No one in my family was like a basketball player or did anything athletics. I come from a very low income, poverty kind of struck family in some type of senses. And just from stories before, as long as I can remember, I can't even remember some of these stories my grandmother and my mother tells me. But like my grandmother always told me this story that like she was like a diehard Michael Jordan fan. I was born in 1990. So kind of in the heart of the Bulls era. She was a diehard Michael Jordan fan, used to claim it was her husband, all these things. And she was a registered nurse. So she would work at the hospital and she would get off and she would tape the games on the TV, the Bulls games so she could watch them when she got off work. And I would watch them with her and she would work these late shifts. And she said she would like fall asleep and like wake up in a panic because here I am, 2 years old, 3 years old, sitting on her lap watching these games. And she wakes up in a panic, like, oh, where am I? Am I into something? And she would wake up and she said I would just be sitting right in front of the TV, off her lap, sitting Indian style in front of the TV, just watching basketball. So from there, I guess I've always been a student of the game. To be at 2 and 3 years old, not even remembering these things, and my grandmother and my mother telling me that like you used to sit and just watch full basketball games like a cartoon, like just sit there and watch it. So I guess I've always just been a part of it and kind of just took it from there. So I started playing at about the age of 3 and just kind of took it from there. Yeah. So I know I probably danced around the question a little bit, but yeah, I've been playing since 3. Started playing competitively at 5 years old. And yeah, I've just got to have a good career. You probably have another question coming up, so I don't know if I want to give off too much just yet.
No, 100%. That's not the worst icon to be watching in you when you're 2 or 3 years old on the TV, if not the greatest ever, depending on who you ask.
Oh, he's the GOAT to me. Like that's just my guy. I was named after him, actually, Michael. I was named after him.
Yeah, take that, Sam. He's definitely the best ever. It's. I know you like your boy LeBron, but that's on this podcast.
I like Bron. I love Bron. But Michael different to me. It's just the guy. He took the game global.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Growing up, like school-wise, in regards to basketball, because obviously over here in Australia, it's not so much the school-based like basketball that like everyone goes for. It's more obviously your rep clubs and your state teams and things of that nature. So obviously growing up in the US, how was that like just going through the school kind of process?
Oh, you love it because the school gets around it. So piggybacking off what I was saying prior, I've been playing since age of 3. I was fortunate enough because even in Beckley, West Virginia, they have like basketball league, like primary school. So you try out for your elementary school, and then you play other elementary schools, and then they do a big round robin tournament, and they crown the champion of like the city. So like I was always a part of that. Like in 4th grade, I was on the bench on varsity. Grade 5, I started. Grade 6, I started. Grade 5, we went to the championship and lost. Grade 6, I did really well. And then you bridge into middle school, which is 7, 8, 9. And I had a really good career there. You play against other middle schools in the district. We went back-to-back championships and then lost in the three-peat. Tried to three-peat in year 8, lost in the championship. And then you come into high school, year 9 through 12. And at year 9, I went to Woodrow Wilson High School, which in Beckley, in West Virginia, has the most basketball state championships in all of West Virginia, the high school. So it's a prestige basketball school. And just the whole mantra of having a game on a Friday night and the students, painting their faces and having student sections and, just them having school spirit and having cheerleaders and having the band playing. Like, it's just a different element versus club land here. And we'll piggyback on it later, but I think that just that element right there of just playing for, not saying you don't play for your club here, but having that kind of whole school behind you kind of vibe is a little bit different because it's more intimate. Like you're in the hallway with these kids, you're in classroom with these kids, and like they're just showing up and going crazy on a Friday night or a Wednesday night or at a game, painting their faces and stuff like that. And that atmosphere is just really cool. And American sport in general is just very competitive, and people really get around it, from sporting bars to, I say this, America is divided in a lot of areas, but the one thing it's united in is sport. Sport brings people together, and especially in America, with a lot of the history that it has, sport is that one common denominator where you don't see color, you don't see race, you just see the sport for what it is and the purity, and that's what brings people together. And that high school environment is great. It's very different than clubland here. I wish they had something like that here that can be experienced for the kids, which we could probably touch on later. I'm trying to, with another partner of mine, Mike Torres, trying to bring that feel and that vibe through another network channel of high school basketball. But went to Woodrow Wilson. We won a state championship in 2011. I mean, not 2011, sorry, 2008. Won a state championship. Yeah, kind of an old man. Won a championship. Was a tournament MVP of that. Was our 16th state championship. And then that season and that tournament run gave me the indication that, I can actually do this. I started getting college offers from there, and just had a really good career. Lost in my senior year in the Final Four, and then ended up going off to a military school and to college, which we'll touch on, I guess, going forward.
Yeah, that's certainly that high school experience that everyone talks about in America. I've been on it for basketball, and I know that the cheerleaders, and it's just the atmosphere is just nuts. Comparing that to obviously your college, went to King University. What's the sort of difference, if you will, between your college atmosphere and your high school atmosphere?
That's a good question. I think the bit of the difference is I find that at a college atmosphere, everyone's on the campus At high school, you go back home. At college, you kind of stay around each other. So from going to, events on campus or walking or just being at night, things going on, it just builds a different like kind of cohesiveness just because you're on this one campus staying together, actually living and, going through your maturity of, 18 through 22 and dabbling in different things and meeting different people. I mean, in terms of the school spirit, it still stays the same. I think just, depends. Some high schools have the vibes of a college atmosphere. Some colleges don't have a vibe at all. But the same thing in any sport, whether it's high school or college and basketball, is still representing the alma mater. You're playing for that. That's across your chest. You're playing for your high school. That has a lot of pride and people care. You're playing for your college. That has a lot of pride and people care. And, you support each other. You're going to the college, you're going to their baseball games, to their football games, to girls volleyball games, the soccer games, like you're supporting each other. And in return, they come to your game. So I just think it does go hand in hand. But I think the biggest difference with college atmosphere and a high school atmosphere, obviously you're a bit older, so you have more opportunity to do some other things. But I think just living on campus and living amongst each other breeds a different type of relationship opposed to high school. Obviously, you do things in high school together, but you go home. At that campus, you're not going home. You're staying on that campus together. And if you're not on campus, you're in a surrounding area, an apartment or something like that, that's within the campus. And you're going to the restaurants that's by the campuses. And like, it's just a bigger buzz behind it, plus a lot more money put into it as well.
Yeah, no, I could only imagine what the college atmosphere is like in the States. We had Riley Parkinson on the show last week. He said a similar thing in regards to, all the fans coming out. And then obviously you've got other sports teams like your soccers, your volleyball, whatever it is, you go to their games, they come to you. No, it sounds really good. But one thing I just want to touch on, this is a question I asked you when we were in, I think it was Lubbock, Texas, right? A few years ago. And then we were chatting about colleges and everything like that. And you mentioned that you got an offer from John Mosley, the guy from Last Chance U.
No, my friend did.
Your friend did.
My teammate did.
Fair.
We would still have the email and everything. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The teammate, yeah, my friend Leo Gideon, he's from the Bahamas, and teammate did. Yeah, he actually got an offer from that same school.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, even just touching on that kind of show, you look at, kind of the because that's a JUCO. Touching on that kind of basketball experience, is there a similar? Is that like a similar kind of representation of what you went through when you played?
JUCO is a bit different. JUCO is something that you go there, whether it's to improve your grades or it's to get a better opportunity at a Division I or Division II, whatever your skill set allows you to get to. And JUCO is 2 years. Guys and girls are coming in there hungry. They're trying to prove something because they're trying to get to the next step. I mean, you do in college, but once you get the scholarship to the school you're at, you're kind of locked into there. But at that JUCO, you're trying to propel yourself to the next best step. Or some guys who even might get in trouble or don't have the grades and are already committed to a school might get sent to go to JUCO to get their grades better, or Last Chance U, you might get in trouble. They send you to that school to show that, okay, his behavioral issues are more tamed. He's more mature. Now he can come to this school and, do whatever needs to be done at that university. So what I went through, I was at a Division II school. So King University is Division II. It's high level basketball. People get caught up in the number. Oh, Division I. And I was the same guy because I went to Fork Union Military Academy, which is a prep school. I went there right after graduating high school from Woodrow Wilson. And that was the same thing. I'm going there trying to get myself higher than Division II because I thought D1 was everything. You think it's everything. But, man, you want to get in where you fit in, and you want to get in where you're wanted, and you want to get in where that university, whether it's Division I or Division II, cares about you. They want, the best thing for you. They want to better not only you as a player, but as a person. You want to go somewhere where it's family. You want to go somewhere where you feel secure and comfort, and you're going to get pushed. Like some people just jump on the Division I, and that school might not even be for them, and now they're transferring. Or in Australian cases, they might make that big trip to the States just to jump to that school and now everything around it, and then it breaks their basketball spirit because it's a different beast in college. Like it's a different beast. Like you live, sleep, breathe the books and your sport nonstop. That's what it is. 7 days a week. Your whole day is centered around your sport. Your classes is centered around your sport and your workouts. So yeah, it was a bit different for me because I was at a Division II and not a JUCO. And great basketball, had a great career, 4-year starter. When I went to Fort Union Military Academy, it was kind of like it was a military base. So I had to wear a uniform and carry a rifle and shine my shoes and do anything that a military, like a cadet or a military person would do. And in return, if I didn't do my duties, I couldn't go practice. So for instance, if a Division I, just throw a name out there, if Coach K was in the gym and I got in trouble in my military school, like whether it's in class or in the barracks or on campus, I couldn't go to practice and I might miss out on a scholarship. So like that was like kind of the prep school route. And I ended up having a verbal to Campbell University, which was Division I. And I decommitted to go Division II because it was the best situation for me. You know, they were going to bring me in, have me as a starter, so I could guarantee me a potential chance at a starting spot as a freshman. Ended up securing that, being a starter with 4 other seniors. I'm the only freshman starting. And they worked out, had a great career, went to 2 national tournaments, won a conference championship, won over 80-plus games. So I'm so grateful that I actually went to the school that was for me. And it gave me the best opportunity to get to the next level, opposed just to jumping on a Division I because of what it sounds like, Division I. So any ballers out there, man, don't get caught up in the number or the division it is. Go where you're wanted. Go where you can shine and where you can grow and where you can play your game and become a better player and where that university is going to support you. That's the main thing that, you know, you need to be looking into in your recruitment. So, but JUCO, a bit different than what I was at. JUCO's more you go in trying to get to the next level, better whether that's your behaviors or your studies or your skills not there yet. You need to get better for another year. But it's a bit different.
And as you said, it's a 4-year thing at the end of the day. That doesn't matter where you go. It needs to be a place that actually suits because it's getting you ready for later in life. And the preparation for this, I was watching through some of your highlights from back in the day, which I'm sure you've definitely had a little time off that 4-year sort of college experience that you've got. Is there a particular game? I know you said you won a conference championship. Is that sort of the top on-court memory that sort of springs to mind?
Nah, my top on-court memory would be in my junior year in high school, year 11, just because of the things that I went through as a player, because that year set me up to know how to balance the highs and lows of basketball. So just to try to make a long story short, I know I can waffle and talk a lot, but I went from, in year 11, went from being a starter to the 6th man to the 9th man to DMPs. And never in my career of playing, from the time I can remember dribbling a basketball, did I ever like not get in the game. I'm going to be starting, I'm going to get major minutes. I've always been pretty good at basketball from the start. And that season really humbled me because I remember being at a game in Spring Valley and sitting on the end of the bench crying with a towel over my head. First time I never not got in the game. And then the second game, I didn't play again. And by the third quarter, midway, and I felt like I wasn't going to play, I just started hating on my teammates, hating on the coach. You know, typical things that a player who's not playing might do. And I didn't know that because I was always playing, and I caught myself being somebody that I wasn't. So I'm hating on my teammates. I remember going home that night, looking myself in the mirror, true story, and saying I have a chance to like either change my energy because I didn't like how I was being on the bench that game, or just wait for my next opportunity and continue to just be the best teammate possible. So the next game I came in, didn't play, but I was high-fiving everybody, a towel raver, cheering on everybody, pulling the other guys who were playing in front of me. Hey, man, you should do this. Look at that. Or I see this. Or, hey, go back door. Change my perspective and my energy. And then a guy who took my position got injured. And then I ended up getting to start. Played pretty well because I'm operating off good energy. The guy comes back. I'm still in the starting lineup. And then it just took off from there. In the last 5 games of the season, from the sectionals to the state championship, I played the best basketball of my career because that set me up to go to college. And I ended up in the round 1. We were the 6th seed playing the 3 seed Martinsburg, and we were down by 1 point. And I had 2 free throws with like 6 seconds left. And at this state tournament, there was thousands of people there. Like I said, with cheering section and stuff. I'm shooting free throws against the opposing team's bench. So there's signs, Beckley sucks. And, there was one guy, big fat guy lifting his shirt up like that. And and I have to make these free throws for us. Or if I miss these free throws, it's game over. Our season's over. And ended up making both free throws. We win the game by 1 point. And the next day I go to school. And it was like a Disney movie, man. I walk into school and everyone is clapping in the hallway, dapping me up. I'm sitting in the class and the teacher is like, "Oh, Michael, well done on the free throws." And it was nuts. Like, because I went from not playing at all to here I am, and 7-10 games later, I'm a hero around the school. This is like kind of crazy. And I never forget Rocco Massey, the school captain, got on the intercom and he shouted me out on the intercom, and the whole class stood up and it started giving me a standing OB. And from then I just took it. The next game came out, scored my high that season, had about 23 points. Then we ended up beating the 2 seed and we played the number 1 seed, and they had put us out the prior year, my sophomore year. And they had beat us 67-55 the year before that. That year, we beat them in the state championship 67-55. And I ended up being named all tournament and MVP of the tournament. And I went from a guy that was starting to three or four DMPs to here I am being an MVP of a tournament and helping my team, my school win its 16th state championship. And that's the last one the school's won since then. And then waking up the next morning, I go to get the sporting page of the newspaper. And on the front of it, I got the picture on my phone. On the front of it, it said, Beckley has good fortune on its side, captures number 6 title, and it's me being lifted up by the cheering section, holding up both my plaques. And so that was and then a week later, I'm starting to get letters in the mail from some Division II colleges around West Virginia, and it's oh, I can actually do this. So that's my biggest moment. Obviously, college, I had a lot of great moments. My sophomore year was my favorite year of my college career because that was the first year we entered a new conference, and we ran that conference, went 15-1, went to the national tournament, and, probably my highest scoring output that season, averaged about 16 points, had a 30-point game that year. I played the shooting guard, so I played out of position, but played really well. But college was really good. But that high school moment, just the story of it for me, coming in, starting and not playing, and DMPs to crying and, to hating on my teammates, hating on my coach, to changing my energy, getting the opportunity off of injury, taking advantage of it, to the school getting behind me, to leading my team to a 16 state title, and then being on the front of the newspaper. And then, we won, and we didn't go to do nothing in school for a week. We had we got invited to the state house at West Virginia. We had a parade, and we're on the bus going through the city, throwing stuff to the fans. It was crazy. I got footage of that. And I was at the center of all that. And I started getting, all these college offers after that season, started playing at higher level in AAU, got on a really good team after that. So my junior year of high school in 2007, 2008, bar none, my greatest moment.
That's unreal. As you mentioned before, that's out of a movie kind of thing. That's some Coach Carter kind of thing right there.
Dude, I walked to school and everyone was just clapping. That was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. I can see it right now. It was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, in going off that kind of thing, life being kind of like a movie, similar to other movies. Can't think of things off the top of my head, but moving overseas for different opportunities. You've obviously moved to Australia, and I wouldn't know you. We wouldn't, have you on this kind of thing if we didn't know who you are. And the reason we know who you are is because you've come over to Australia. So what were the opportunities and what were the things about Australia that brought you over here?
Again, another true story. You speak things into existence. And I just graduated college in 2014. And I kind of didn't know what was going on. It was a summer. And I'll never forget, me and my friend JD, he's barbecuing. I'm sitting on his porch. And I'm just looking out into he had a little balcony kind of, and I'm looking out. And I'm in Bristol, Tennessee at this time. And I go to JD. I don't know why I said this. I said, man, I'm going to go play basketball in Australia one day. And he's like, bro, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I can just go play in Australia. Honestly, I want to go to Australia and just be bigger than basketball. I want to just go to Australia. I feel like I can do more than basketball in Australia. I don't know why Australia, but I just had a click moment about Australia. And this is 2014. I think is about June, July 2014. And then I ended up becoming a head coach. My first coaching job ever. I was a 22-year-old head coach of my Division II school. So the year I graduated, they made me the head coach of the junior varsity team. We had a junior varsity team. So we played JUCOs, we played prep schools, we played other Division II schools, we played Division I junior varsity teams. And so I was the head coach of that. So I'm head coaching dudes that I was just going to the club with, playing 2K with, hanging out with, talking about girls with. And I'm now these guys' coaches because the coach who was doing their job, who was that coach, took a leave of absence for family or personal reasons. And they filled me in for 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, they're just like, hey, the guys love you, keep you on. That was my first ever coaching job, was a Division II job. And it was crazy because my friends who call me Michael or Mike or Money Mike or Fortune or Five, whatever all the names they call me, they were saying, yes, sir. And afraid of me in practice, like didn't want to run. And I was like, man, I got these dudes like brainwashed. Like, and one of my boys is like, I said something. He was like, yes, sir. I'm like, bro, don't call me sir. He's like, nah, man, I respect you. I'm like, okay. I got something going here. I'm actually got something going. Cause I was always a team captain of my teams, high school, college. I was a 2-year captain. High school, my senior year, I was the captain. I was always kind of that Bob. And so lost my train of thought. What was going on? Ended up getting that job. And so fast forward, I did that, and a guy that I knew that I went to military school with came to Australia a year before me and played for the Hawthorne Magic. And we stayed close friends. We went to 2 different colleges, stayed close friends. And at this time, there was no like FaceTime or nothing like that. It was Skype. So we were talking on Skype all the time. And I had some traumatic situations happen to me. Finished coaching, still wanted to play ball, was working at Enterprise car rental place, kind of not happy with where I was at, still had that itch to play ball, been playing my whole life. And then I lost my best friend to gun violence. And then I lost my uncle to an illness in like a span of that time I was coaching, and I was just kind of lost. Connected with my buddy who was in Australia, and he presented me the opportunity to come to Australia. And that's how it came about. It wasn't like I reached out to a team or anything like that. I just took a leap of faith. I live by the phrase, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. And I took a major risk, paid for a working holiday visa, moved to Australia October 19th, 2015, $500 in my pocket. That was it. I just knew him, one person. And when I got here, that's how it started. Just started taking me to workouts and things of that nature, and ended up getting on at Bulleen. But taking that jump, man, was scary. It was real scary. But I find the thing that got me over the hump, I never wanted to live my life with regrets. Like 10 years later, what if I would have went to Australia? What would I have done? What would have happened? I didn't want to live with that. I just thought, go for 1 year, give it a go. Who knows what can happen? And here I am almost 10 years later, still here talking to you guys, right? So sometimes in life, man, them unknowns we fear, but you got to embrace it and go for it. Like, so that was kind of what I did. I just kind of went for it and came overseas, and it's worked out really well. I really got to spread my wings, but that's how I got to Australia. Just not burning the bridge, keeping the connection open with a friend, presented me an opportunity when I was down. I ran with it with my family support, $500, and I took it from there, and here we are now.
Absolutely. That's quite the story there, and something that just clicked in your mind and just went with it. And it's clearly worked out pretty well there. And I noticed how you said that you wanted to be bigger than basketball here in Australia and just in general. And obviously you've got your stuff where you do some motivational speaking, really want to inspire the youth. Not really have a question here, but just sort of what are you hoping to sort of get out? Why are you thinking this motivational speaking is something that you've been wanting to do?
To be honest, man, it's not even something I was wanting to do. It was kind of just me being myself, and it turned into that. There was never no goals of being a motivational speaker, or I want to have a podcast, or a lot of this stuff, man, it just kind of came to me, to be honest. But we all have a story to tell. Like, you have a story, we all three have stories to tell. And for mine, a lot of my story has come through a lot of trials and tribulations. Obviously, I didn't touch on the nitty gritty of my life, just the basketball stuff. But there was a lot of stuff that in my childhood growing up, a lot of challenges that I faced that's kind of molded me into who I am today. That's allowed me to have a lot of lived experience in a lot of different areas in life and in sport. Just giving that story about me not starting, from starting to not starting to raising up. I tell them stories a lot to kids who are going through them type of things, because that's a lived experience. I have a lot of lived experiences in a lot of different areas that's just kind of pushed me into motivational speaking. And if you know any motivational speaker, they've all been through something. And I've been through a lot. And mine, like you said, the motivational speaking, all the other stuff kind of came when my world stopped, because I tore my patella in my knee in 2017. So when I played at Bulleen, 2016, I played for the Bulleen Boomers. And then I went to New Zealand for a year. And I was getting on with the Auckland Super City Rangers in the NZBL. And I ended up tearing my patella, and that kind of changed the whole trajectory of like how I seen the world, how I seen myself. Because when you don't play basketball and that's all I've done, it's like, what next? And a lot of players who go their whole career at their sport playing, they get to the end of it and they've not done nothing else. And then they get depressed or they get scared or they don't know what to do because all they know themselves is one thing. But the thing that I drew myself back to, I've always said I want to be more than just a basketball player when I come overseas. And I drew back into that during my injury in New Zealand. And I just started, the first thing I started was a foundation to get back to at-risk youth and underprivileged back in Beckley, West Virginia. I organized the event. I went back to Beckley, West Virginia. It was 2017. I ran my first event. It was a toy drive. So in West Virginia, for Christmas, instead of doing a fee for the camp, I just did a free clinic, and only thing you had to bring was a toy donation. And I took all those toys and I donated it to the Children's Home Society to give to kids who were in need in homeless shelters for Christmas. And I did that for 1 year, but I organized all that because of the injury. But without the injury, if I'm still playing basketball, I'm not thinking about doing any of that stuff. I'm just thinking about myself as a basketball player in my next workout, or like I'm not thinking in that kind of realm. And I did that, and then that kind of made the news. And then I did it a second year, and I switched it from toys to winter accessories, because in West Virginia, it gets like freezing cold, like snowy below, like you're out of school for weeks at a time type of snow. And I did a winter drive that was really successful, and ended up partnering up with the Southern Regional YMCA. I partnered up with the Children's Home Society with my foundation that I did with my childhood friend, Justin Cook. It's called the Cook and Fortune Foundation. And we did a winter drive for 2 years, and we're able to give out clothes to the whole state of West Virginia through 2 basketball events. Obviously, COVID changed that, but to answer your question and all in saying all that, the motivational speaking only came just through the injury. That kind of put my mind in them spaces. And that's just kind of how it came about. And I connected with a young kid named Alexander Michaelides, who I was his mentor. He went to Coburg when I was at Coburg, and I just took him under my wing and was kind of a big brother figure to him. And he started Calm. It was Calm Basketball. He started it, and he came to me one day and was just like, "Hey man, I started a Calm Basketball movement where you just kind of put up videos on an Instagram page." It was like 2019, and he's like, "Man, you say a lot of stuff that resonates with me. A lot of stuff that you say to me, I think other kids and people need to hear. Would you mind doing a video for me?" And I did one video, and then I ended up doing the next, and we ended up calling the segment Fortunate Facts with Michael Fortune. And I just started doing segments for kids about, approaching games, approaching tryouts, having determination. And I was just kind of just drawing a lot of my personal experiences through the game that I played, from injury, from not being able to play at times, to college, to going through that whole grind and juggle to coming overseas and taking that risk, blended it all into one, and just started giving, knowledge and advice and mentoring kids. And that's how it kind of came about with Calm Basketball. And then I ended up getting my first speaking clinic at Brunswick Secondary College for a VCAL, went there, spoke in front of like 150 year eights. And then, after I did that, man, I left that like, oh, wow, I found my purpose. That I literally found my purpose. I was like, this is, I've never felt that in my life. No 3 that I've hit, person that I've crossed up, dime I've dropped, still that I got, championship I've won compared to that feeling. And ever since then, doing that in 2019 at Brunswick Secondary College, it just went from there. But it all started just from doing a little videos, fortunate facts for Calm Basketball, and me mentoring Alexander and the personal stuff that I've been through in my basketball journey. So yeah, man, it was never no goal of mine. It's never no ambition. It just kind of came about by me just literally being myself.
All right. You mentioned Alex Michaelides there. He's someone that like I've come across on Instagram as well. I've seen he's starting a podcast at the moment as well. Just trying to dive in a little bit deeper into what you guys have been doing with Calm. I've noticed you guys have been going to a lot of primary schools and doing programs with these primary schools. So yeah, can you give us a bit of an insight into what that's all about?
Yeah, we go to primary schools, we go to secondary colleges. Pretty much it's just a 5-week program that's called Inspiring Purpose Through Passion. And CALM stands for CALM as an acronym. It stands for Composed, Ambition, Leaders, and Mentality. And it was 4 things that we found that was applicable to everyday life and whatever sport, whatever it is. And we ended up making this program and being able to do it at Bundor Primary School. And I actually came through a Diamond Valley connection of me coaching a kid, coaching a daughter, coaching a girl on my under 16s team. And her mom was a well-being officer. And she loved how I just connected with the girls and the things that I said to her daughter. And just, I need you to come. Can you come to my school and do what you do? That's how it came about. And me and AJ just sat down and made a creative program. Like, it was never set. We didn't have this on ice. We got the opportunity to go, and we were literally making the programs a night before. We were linking up, like, what do you want to do? So we pretty much just it's 5 weeks. So the first week you go over the letter C and we talk about composure. And we always give like a real life story from either me or him. We're in a situation that we had to stay composed. And then we give kids framework to help them use how to work out their challenges. And we just talk to them about being composed and different challenges and things of that nature. And then we have week 2, which is ambition. We do a program where we just kind of allow them to express what they want to do, how they can see it, touch it, feel it, obtain it, just without giving off too much. And then we do like week 3 is like leaders, and we just do like role playing and leadership roles, but they're all centered around real life experiences that me and AJ have been through. So nothing's like from data or from this or from that. It's from real life lived experience. And that's where we find our biggest differences. And obviously mentality. We do things with them around centering, around having a positive mentality. And then week 5 is graduation. And for graduation, they just pretty much come up and public speak or present whatever they found in their discovery portfolio during Inspiring Purpose Through Passion. Or they might come up, and we had one kid, he wants to be a guitar. He wants to play the guitar. He came up and played guitar. We have kids come up and just do really creative things or speak about what they learned about themselves over the course of time. Or we've had kids come up and just, do raps and do just different things, but it's giving them that creative outlet to be who they are with no fear, no judgment. And just to kind of chase their dreams and, just to think of themselves as bigger than being a statistic. There's so much things you can do, and especially now with all the access we have to things. Like, don't sell yourself short. So that's pretty much in short what we do for the programs at primary schools. Then we do motivational speaking clinics. So whatever schools need, like if a school's like, oh, we're struggling to connect with the students on respect or resilience or this or that, we draw up a presentation, come in. AJ will speak about how he started Calm. I'll speak about my journey, myself, and that will be a 55-minute presentation in the school auditorium. And it's mostly secondary colleges for year 11, year 12s, year 10s, and we get a bit more deeper than we do with primary school students. We peel back more layers with the high school kids. So we offer that in both lanes. And saying that now, be on the lookout. I'm about to come out with Calm Sport, where I'm going to start doing the same thing as sporting clubs. I'm building that right now. So that's a little bit about Calm. And it's really taken off. I mean, we did a lot of those for free to start. And sometimes in life, you got to do things free to really start to get to where you want to get to. And we did like 4 or 5 clinics free. And then now it's a government-funded business. So, yeah, Calm's a beautiful thing, and it's definitely a serviceable need, especially since COVID. Kids need that engagement, that positive engagement. There's a lot of school refusal. I feel like students and teachers aren't meeting halfway. There's kind of like a war with students and teachers at the moment, and we're here to bridge the gap. That's what we're here to do. We're not teachers. We're just 2 dudes, me and Alexander, who have life experience, and we just go into schools and pump in inspiration and motivation to not only the students but the faculty. They be needing it just as much as the students. So Yeah, that's calm in a nutshell, but it's growing fast and rapidly. And again, this is another avenue where I'm just being myself and living in my purpose.
Yeah, it's great to see that one there. It's quite a journey now to get obviously government funded, and just another avenue you always talked about on this podcast so far, to having different avenues. You had your playing days, and obviously what sort of bigger than basketball. Just switching gears quickly, obviously we've got the Olympics going on at the moment, and obviously grew up in the US, but you moved to Australia for 10 years. So where's the allegiances if they come across in a quarterfinal or a semi-final?
So if you heard my voice and you didn't know me, would you think I'm from Australia or America?
Yeah, definitely American.
So I'm going for America. I'm America all day, every day. I mean, I grew up idolizing. I idolize it, man. I love the Redeem Team 2008. Man, I used to stay up till 4 a.m. and watch games, man. I was in high school. 2012, the team in London. Like, I'm obviously the Dream Team, but then I was kind of too young for that. In the 90s, but that 2000, I remember watching the 2004 Olympics and them losing and getting third and then me crying over it. Like, I hated it. That's when Vince Carter jumped over the guy and dunked it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's 2001. 2004, LeBron and them, their rookie year and stuff like that. I remember being like super upset, man, like that they lost. So if they were to meet up Australia or USA, obviously I'm going for USA. But if Australia won, I'm like, oh yeah, nice. I wouldn't hate on it. I mean, Australia, man, I tell people, man, the NBL is a top 5 league in the world. Top 5 league in the world. Is so respected. Once I seen them starting to do preseason games with the NBA, I'm like, this is legit. This is legit league. It's up there with the CBAs, the Spains. It's up there. And Australian basketball is not only growing for men, but women as well. There's so many players that's out there playing in the States and colleges. And yeah, it's just the game. The game is in a good place in Australia. And I love just helping push that forward and paying it forward to Australians. But definitely USA at heart, man. USA at heart all day, every day.
No, that's fair. We had to ask that one. We just had to make sure, just in case there was a bit of Aussie or a bit of US. But
I like Aussie though. I go for them when they play other countries. I'm cheering for Australia. Like last night, Canada, Australia. I'm watching the game. I'm going for Australia. Like
yeah,
so definitely. But nah, USA, man. That's where I'm born and bred. It stays that way till I die.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Well, look, Michael, that's pretty much everything we've got here. From both of us, thank you very much. Like there was a massive reason that we wanted to get you on the podcast, and there's this sort of energy that you give off. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours on your story and everything that you're about. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. We've really enjoyed having you.
Again, thanks for having me. Like I said, I'm happy I could throw assists like John Stockton to you guys being on here. But no, I appreciate it. You guys keep doing your thing. Just keep doing episodes, man. Don't worry about the numbers or the downloads or the views. Just keep doing it just for the enjoyment of it, man. Like just continue to do it from that. Just continue to do it and stay doing it. And it's easy in this space because basketball is never stopping. So I'm supporting you guys and thanks for having me on. And yeah, definitely could talk for days. There's so much about my story I didn't even touch on, but hopefully I gave the content that you guys were looking for with the podcast. So thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. We'll link everything with Michael down in the description, including his Calm program that he's got. And yeah, we love it. Oh, I didn't even say that. It's a Calm hoodie.
We here. You see it. Calm.youth. Calm.youth on Instagram. Come find us. We're coming to a school near you. And I'm around. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere and anywhere, man. So if you see me, what's up?
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Michael. We're going to wrap it up there. Keep making sure to share the podcast. Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Spotify, YouTube. We're going everywhere, just like Calm and Michael is. So we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Michael. And we'll see you next episode.